That down, guys. Let's move on to this. It's hot take time.
Hot take. It's just about to start right now.
Just starting now. Okay, in case you missed it. But there is only one team left in the NFL after this weekend. Well, actually, it's been this way for a little while. But now after this weekend, the Kansas City Chiefs are 9-0. And I am here to tell you they are not that good. And I understand. Which coach was it says you are what your record says you are? Is that Bill Parcells said that? Anyway, you are what your record says you are.
I think it was Oprah Winfrey.
That who said it?
Yeah.
But I like they just scored, and I've been saying all year, Patrick Mahomes, who if I was a general manager, I still take him day one, and I would never want it to be the last minute of the game and see him marching across the field against my team. But that said, I've been saying for a number of weeks, he is not having a great year, nor is this offense having a great year. They just played a mid-tier, better than expected, but mid-tier Broncos team. And they scored 16 points. They scored 16 points. And Broncos have a good defense, but 16 points. And because of a literal last-second blocked field goal, they win the game and they stay at 9-0. And it's hilarious to change the narrative. Because if they didn't block that field goal, that one guy didn't get his hand on that ball, the narrative would be, well, the Chiefs just didn't show up today. I think this is showing their weaknesses in their spots, blah, blah, blah. But because that one guy got his hand on the ball, the narrative is, the Chiefs find a way to win.
Pull it out.
You just always got Patrick Mahomes, right? It's just, but I seriously, I just want to take a second, a sober moment. And because I know it sounds crazy saying I don't actually think the Chiefs are that. I think they're good. I think they're very good. I just don't think they're that good. Because when you look at their record, week 1 was a good win against Baltimore Ravens. But if you guys remember, they won by, for those of you who understand the way the rest of the world sanely measures things, they lost by a millimeter. A toe being 1.5 millimeters over the line in the end zone. Otherwise, not so sure they win that game. And they only won that game by 1 score. Then they played a team that's having its struggles this year, the Cincinnati Bengals. They only won by 1 point.
Oh, yeah? They did, huh?
They did. Sorry, Ray.
Did they?
Did they though? Did they?
Did they really win that game?
Who did?
Then they played what's turned out to be a mid-tier Atlanta Falcons team. They won again by 1 score. They won by 5 points. Then they played a mid-tier Chargers team. And again, they won by 1 score, 7 points. Again, only managing to score 17 points against not the best defense in the league. Then they played the horrible Saints.
Oh, come on.
And that's their biggest win. They won by
Saints
13
are like,
points.
What the hell, man? Yeah.
They won by 13 points, which has been their biggest win against arguably bottom 2 or 3 worst team in the league right now. Just fired their coach, too. Then they beat a severely undermanned San Francisco 49ers team at the time by 10. That was a good win. I'll give them that. That was a good win. But then they played the lowly Raiders, won by 1 possession, 7 points. Then they played a massively depleted, both their best players out, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the only reason they won that game is because the coach was a freaking idiot and didn't go for 2 when they had the opportunity to win the game. Oh, I just don't know. I don't like our chances getting 2 yards. But you like your chances getting 70 yards? And that's if you win the coin toss, you don't give the ball to Patrick Mahomes first. Anyway, so a massively depleted Tampa Bay Buccaneers team that they probably would have lost that game had they made the right decision and gone for it in 2, ended up winning by 6 points. So again, 1 possession team. And then they just played the mid-tier Broncos, I should say, who are improving. They are an ascending team, but they were, going into the game 5-4?
Yeah.
Something like that?
And they're division teams. They always play each other kind of close.
And they only managed to score 16 points and only won because the last second field goal got blocked. That's it. Otherwise, they lose the game. And everybody's talking completely different, but because that one guy got his hand on the ball, the Chiefs do it again. Oh, that shows the tenacity and the never say die attitude. Look, I don't want to misrepresent myself. Let me be very, very clear.
You hate them.
I know.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are very good.
I hate their guts.
They've got the best coach in the NFL right now. They've got, listen, Mahomes is not having a great year, but I would still never want one day to play against him. He's still Patrick Mahomes. I'm just saying they are not as good as their record says they are. And guess what? When you look again at that record, Chargers, Falcons, New Orleans Saints, the Broncos, the Raiders. Okay, this is not exactly a world beater schedule. They're going to play Buffalo next week. Now, they go into Buffalo and beat them convincingly.
Run
I don't
the
mean by
table.
30, but you go into Buffalo, beat them by 11 plus. Okay, I think that may answer a lot of questions, and that will change the narrative. But I think they get beaten by Buffalo. I think they get beaten handily. I think Buffalo's going to beat them handily. Not by 30 or anything like that, but maybe they win by 10 or 11. So, okay, that's my hot take. Big hot take, Ryan.
Yep.
What's your response?
Ryan, yes.
Somebody turn the air on.
My hot take. Agree,
Super hot.
disagree, somewhat agree. What do you think?
I mean, they're definitely the 7 of the wins have been single score wins, like you said. So they're not really beating up on anybody. Their defense has been really good though this year. I mean, some of the teams you said are not great, but
I'm glad you brought that up. That is all the
yeah.
difference in the world. Their defense this year is phenomenal.
they're holding teams under 18 points a game on average. So they're doing what they need to. If Mahomes isn't going to put up the huge numbers he usually does, they're squeaking these wins out. There are some games, or not games. A lot of people complain that Chiefs get favorable calls all the time. I can't argue that. I do see it sometimes. Not all the time, because everyone's going to be biased on their team if they're playing them. But they're not. I don't think they're playing up to their potential. But I also kind of think they're not doing it on purpose sometimes. Like they're just doing what they need to do to win these games, not showing off the full playbook.
Yeah, they're just enough to win team, right?
Yeah, they're squeaking these wins out. The Patriots used to do this.
Yeah.
The Colts used to do this. It is a problem though when you get to the playoffs, when you haven't been playing at your full potential and you get a bye week and then you lose the first playoff game because nobody's been playing hard. So that is a concern if that's what they're but if that's what they're doing. But I think this game, like you said, John, against the Bills, I mean, that was the AFC playoff game last year where it came down to overtime or whatever. So it's a big test. It's in Buffalo too, so there's no home field for them, for the Chiefs this game. So we'll see if Josh Allen can redeem himself from the last loss to the Chiefs and show that they're the better team. I mean, they're 9-0. You can't say they're not good, but
No,
I understand
absolutely
what
not.
you're
There's
saying.
that,
They're not blowing people out convincingly or getting these wins
But
in a
even
way.
then, like you're saying, like, oh, you're not going to move the ball like that on Pat Mahomes. Like, you think they're going to win every time, though. I at least every game I'm watching, I'm like, they're down, they're still gonna win. It doesn't. I still feel like it.
Yeah.
It's like that level of like, you know, when you used to like bet on Pacquiao until he loses. Like, yeah, he's gonna win.
And they're still working in Hopkins. He's gonna help.
He looks great.
Yeah, he's
so
gonna help them a
far.
lot as they progress. Pacheco's supposed to come back pretty soon, so they'll have the main running back again. So I mean, they're taking care of business, but we'll see. That they're gonna start playing harder teams. It gets closer to the playoffs. We'll see. How it goes.
Like to your point, Matt, whenever they're playing, you just feel like, because we went to Cosm, Los Angeles.
That's what I'm talking about. When they didn't go for 2, John, you
all
melted
do.
into the couch, and I'm like, yeah, you're right.
I'm like,
They're
you're
gonna
going
lose.
to lose if you don't go for 2.
Yeah.
But, I mean, but right now when you're watching them play, and this is why I'm saying, like, absolutely they're a very good team, best coach in football, all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying that team I'm watching's putting up 16 points against the Broncos and barely squeaking by the Bucks and all that kind of stuff. You put them up against the Detroit Lions right now, I think the Detroit Lions run track and field over them.
Yeah.
You put them up against the Bills, I think you put them against the, I think the Steelers beat them right now because the Steelers are starting. How good is that move to Wilson looking?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, that's just looking like a different. I don't like their chances against the Bills in
the Ravens too.
In the AFC. The Ravens are resurgent.
Yeah.
I like you replay that game 1. I think the Ravens win. So I'm just saying, like, they're beating all the teams they should.
Okay,
win.
John, you're right.
I'm just saying.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I'm like, you convinced me. I'm like, yeah, next week when the Bills win, I'm gonna come back in and be like, all right, John.
I think it'll be. I mean, like, let's say the Bills win in a close game. Does that help your thoughts on them? Like the defense shows they could even pull the Bills down to like a normal game and they barely squeak by the Chiefs. Does
Well,
that
their defense,
prove
like
anything?
you said, so accurately so, that their defense are world beaters this year. Because normally you think of the Chiefs and you just think of Mahomes, Kelsey, the big offense. This year, it's all the defense. It's all the defense. And that's going to be a problem. If they, like I said, if they beat Buffalo by like 11,
Yeah.
I'm totally going to change my tune. Like
Then
like
I'm gonna
maybe-
come in and be like, they stink.
Yeah. But
Maybe they're one of these teams that plays up or down
Yeah, I was
to the
gonna-
level
yeah,
of their
whatever the-
competition.
But what
Just
if they
enough to
just
win.
What if they just beat them by another field goal? Like they come down, Mahomes comes down, they kick a field goal when they get by 3. Is it
if
going to be
it's
the
a
same
tight,
thing?
close game all the way through,
Yeah.
and they squeak it out, I'll give them all the credit in the world because that'll be a big legit
Yeah.
win against a really powerful team right now. Not
Yeah.
the best in the league, but Buffalo looks great. And if they can get a win over Buffalo and look good doing it, even if it's
Yeah.
by 3 or 4 or whatever, yeah, they beat them by 11, then I'm going to go, okay, maybe they're
Yeah.
scary again.
What if they beat him by 11 and Mahomes is taking a nap for the whole fourth quarter?
Yeah.
Remember
even
we
have
were
to
watching
play.
that game against Tampa and he went down?
Yeah.
And everybody
Yeah.
was like gasping and holding
Yeah.
their breath. But I'll say this, if they can go in and beat Buffalo by 11, because I think, okay, at 9-0, can we at least say this?
Mm-hmm.
They don't look like the big scary monsters in the closet anymore like they have for the
No,
last
no.
couple of years.
Yeah.
But
No.
if they beat Buffalo by like 10 plus, I think they start looking scary again.
Yeah, that's a big one.
That's big. And so I don't know. We'll see. But I'm saying Buffalo. I'll give Buffalo 7.5. I think Buffalo's going to beat them.
Well, and if they don't beat Buffalo, or if they beat Buffalo, there's not anybody for a couple weeks
Yeah.
that's gonna really.
I mean, they could roll undefeated if they beat Buffalo.
Yeah.
And then we'll see if they could do what the Patriots couldn't do, which is win all the way to a title. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about my hot take that the Kansas City Chiefs are not as good as you think they are? At least not this year. They're 9-0, but man, they're squeaking by the skin of their teeth against some teams they should be trouncing. But anyway, whatever you guys think, and who's going to win that game between KC and Buffalo next week? Whatever you guys think, jump down in the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.